Welcome to the WRAL Daily Download. I'm Megan Glova. Well, Tropical Storm Debby is passing through North Carolina this week, and of course, some of our coastal towns are among the areas being hit the hardest. WRAL News Plus anchor Grace Holland has been in Ocean Isle and joins me now with what she's been seeing there. Hi, Grace.
Hey, Megan. Good to be here.
So weather-wise, I first caught you there on Wednesday morning. Can you set the scene for us? What have you felt and witnessed from Debby since you've been there?
Yeah, so it's been, just kind of off and on bands of rain and wind. We woke up early this morning, about 3 a.m. to be ready for the start of the morning show at 4:30 a.m. When we first got up on Tuesday, we didn't see very much wind or rain. That had kind of happened overnight, but there was some puddling in certain places on the road. Talking to people here, it wasn't anything outside the norm. There's just, it's an island. There's some low-lying areas that, water builds up on when it rains really hard. So, things that locals were used to, but of course, a lot of the people who are here right now are vacation folks, so maybe they might not be as familiar with that kind of stuff. But for us, just wind and rain periodically. Wasn't really raining when we first got up, and then throughout the morning just continued to be off and on. And on Tuesday afternoon, the rain was really starting to become more steady.
Okay, good to hear. And any damage you've come across so far?
No damage. In this part of the coast, at least, I can't speak for other areas. This has really been more of a rain event. I know that that's sort of the big impact that our meteorologists have been looking for, is just whether there's going to be any flooding because of the amount of rain that we're getting. So far, like I say, nothing outside the norm, but people are definitely keeping an eye on that.
Yeah, and I know you said that a lot of people are already used to this right now as far as locals go, but have you noticed any ways in particular that people are protecting themselves or their property?
Right, yeah. It's interesting when we kind of waited until the sun came up to go live on the beach on Tuesday morning, because obviously if you go out there and there's no light, you can't see anything. So once the sun came out, we went out on the beach, and one of the first things we noticed was there were some houses that had these really massive sandbags. They looked like they'd been there a while, so I wasn't going to point those out until I'd talked to someone who lived along there, kind of got some more information. But a guy came by who had a house on that stretch of the beach. He actually had driven down for the day from Wilmington, where he lives full time, but he has a house that he rents out down here, and he had just kind of come to check on the property. And I just kind of was like, hey, like these sandbags, what's kind of the deal with those? Have those always been there? And he actually did say that those weren't there up until a couple of years ago. People may remember Isaias, which was a hurricane and tropical storm that came through our area. And he said that storm, there was some issues. This is, like I say, the house is right along one of the sections of the beach where some people's, I don't know if it was their full foundations or just sort of their porches, got affected by the storm surge. So since then, there's been some people who have put in these really big, they're like big sandbags. They're like the size of a person sandbags.
Oh, wow.
Underneath. Yeah, underneath of like these sort of like boardwalks that walk from people's porches over the dunes and onto the beach. And he did say that there was, I believe, a jetty up the beach that had also been put in. And he said that so far, the storms that they've had since Isaias, that's been helpful. But people are just kind of waiting to see how much of a help that turns out to be in terms of storm surge.
Well, it seems like most people are staying pretty optimistic, but any concerns that you're consistently hearing from either visitors or the folks that live there?
Yeah, the town is just the town government is keeping a close eye on this. I talked to Mayor Debbie Smith a couple times today. No huge, massive changes in their forecast. She was seeming pretty optimistic Tuesday around lunchtime. She just had an update at that point. That was when we were hearing that some dry air had got mixed in with the storm, and maybe that would make things move a little quicker. Of course, those things can change with a storm like this. And for me, just looking at my radar all day, I can't tell that it's moved very much from where it was this morning. But definitely just kind of, it's crazy because, normally when I've covered storms in the past, after I've been here at this point 24 hours, you would start to see things look very different, than when you first get to a place. But this storm is really interesting in that it's moving so slow. But I think the main concern they're just saying is, we just got to see how long this thing stays with us, how much rain we end up getting. But I think starting to feel a little bit better about the storm surge was the sense that I got.
All right, Grace on the ground. Some very interesting perspective there. We'll hear more about storm safety on the coast when we come back. We are back with WRAL's Grace Holland, who is stationed out on Ocean Isle Beach for Tropical Storm Debby. And Grace, have you spoken with any town officials or maybe law enforcement about safety during the storm there?
Yeah, so, as I mentioned before, we really the main point of contact has been Mayor Debbie Smith. She's also the PIO for the town, which, for non-news people, that's public information officer. So in addition to her role as mayor, she's also the media contact in general. So we've really mainly been going through her. Of course, police have been posting a lot of things I've seen on their Facebook pages and resharing, and I've been monitoring that throughout the day. Also, early on Tuesday morning, we did run into an officer who was just kind of making patrols. At that point in the day, again, this was very early, but he was, he said didn't see anything too out of the ordinary, but we definitely saw them keeping an eye on things. Late this afternoon, I was coming back from a walk, and I saw a couple of Ocean Isle Beach fire trucks going by. They didn't have sirens on or anything, but they're definitely around and keeping an eye on things.
All right. Well, any expectations for the weekend, whether that be talking to our meteorologist or just talking to town officials or locals out there?
Maybe I wouldn't say expectation. Maybe I would say the thing that everyone's manifesting, rather, the fingers crossed, is that, with this storm maybe moving a little bit faster, that it might clear out by Friday and, things may get sunny again. We talked to a man on Tuesday morning who had driven down from Cary yesterday, and they're planning to stay 2 full weeks. And he was saying, we've been through similar intensity storms down here in the past. And he was saying, and honestly, sometimes the best weather comes immediately after, just beautiful blue skies, perfect beach days, not too hot kind of thing. So I think there's definitely some hope that there will be some sunshine after the storm.
Grace Holland, thanks so much, and stay safe out there. And thank you for listening to the WRAL Daily Download. Another great way to get WRAL news is the Morning Briefing newsletter. It's a daily email that's waiting in your inbox every morning with local news, events, and headlines getting you ready for the day. Sign up at WRAL.com/newsletter.